So for today's video, we're going to look at how to design a landing page with Elementor containers. Let's get in. First and foremost, you want to create your header. You want to create a landing page. So you go here, you go to theme builder. So the next thing to do, you click on your header. It shows if you already have a header, it's going to show you that, okay, you already have a header. Do you have any conditions? So the conditions pretty much tells your website where the header should show. So right now we are going to use this header. We're going to create the header that we have over here. So go back into the header, click on add new, and then it's going to take you to this this blank canvas. It's going to show you there pretty much a lot of headers that Elementor has created. Some of them are pro. I think all of them are pro. Yeah. So if you don't have the pro, you won't be able to use the header and navigation. Yeah, I think the header and navigation function, you won't be able to do that. So you need Elementor Pro to get that. So we're going to create the header first. Let's look at the header. This header has 3 elements. So you have this logo, you have this navigation, then you have this little toggle icon. So we're going to go in and create, let's create something that goes from left to right as in a row. Okay, so that would be a row. This header looks like it is 14. It's the same thing as this. So first we need a text, because that is what they have there is a text logo. So we're going to put a text over here. And the next thing is we need the nav. The listicle for the nav, so I'm going to click on this navigation and put it over there. The last thing is the toggle icon. I'm just going to use icon. I'm going to put an icon here, and then I will apply the toggle to it. Just swap this. Sometimes this thing just be buggy. I have no idea why, but okay. So the text that the design is using is Sora. So I'm going to take Sora for that. And then the logo is called graphic. Just to be lazy, I'm gonna just copy this and paste it. So that is that. This looks like, inspect the text over here. So text is 18 pixel. So let's go into styling. Give this one 18 pixel, and it should be also, say, okay, it's 400. So the font weight is 400. So I think we're doing good with the font weight. The next thing is to do this, to style the nav. So we're going to remove the pointers. So the pointers are the ones that are creating the underline, and so I'm going to remove them totally. I'm going to make the color over here. They already have a color that I already uploaded, which is this 1618 1B. So that is for the normal color. The hover color is, as you can see there, when you hover, so the normal color is not that. So the normal color specifically, I need to go back into the Figma file. So this is the Figma file. I want to see, okay, so when the color is not, when the menu icon is not selected or it's not hovered upon, the color is this. So I'm gonna copy that, go back into Elementor, and then I'm gonna go back into the header. So that, okay, so the normal color should be this. So it's a kind of light gray, and then the hover should be black, and the active should be black. So, and when you go back into the Figma file, so when you go back into the Figma file, you see that, okay, it's 18 and then 400. So we're just going to apply the same idea here, Sora, and then make this into 18, and then that's 400. So it looks like we are done with that. And the next thing is to upload this SVG. So pick this XVG and then just add it, insert it over here. So we have this whole navigation thing, the toggle icon over there. The next thing is to find out how big that icon is. I don't know why when you open this, it doesn't open by itself, but I'm going to find out. Okay, so this is 34 by 27. So I'm going to go into Elementor here, go to style, and then I'm going to put 34. If I'm correct, I'm just going to check again. Yeah, 34 by 27. And this one already keeps you, the height, I'm going to just leave it that way. So 34, 27. Everything looks good. The next thing is to give this. Let's give up a bit of space at the top. I think there's space at the top. The header itself has the height of the header container. This header container, I believe, is 50. I think is it 50? I think it's 50. Yeah, and then everything should be, so we want to make sure that the graphic and then the nav and this icon is in the middle. So we're going to click on item, we click on the container, click on item, and then we put them into, we center them. And then we come to justify content. We want to make sure that both of these, all three elements in here are separated properly. So we're going to try separating between, and then around, and then evenly. So I'm going to take space in between. So yeah, that should work. The next thing is to give the top of the top of this container a bit of a margin. I'm going to give it 42. Make sure that it is only affecting the top, not the whole. So unlink the values and give it that. And then I also want, so this container itself is, when you go back, it's a 50 pixel container plus the 42. So I'm going to give, I want the content that we will create. So the content that we will create when we come over here, as you can see, so this header is sitting on top of the content. So how we're going to achieve that is we're going to add it to the space from the top here all the way to the bottom over here. So you remember the top of this is 42, and then this container itself is 50. So we need a 92 negative margin underneath, so that the content that we will create is going to just slide underneath it, and then the header menu is going to sit on top of it. So here we haven't, this toggle icon, we haven't really done much to it, because we can use a pop-up we can trigger a pop-up when we click on this, but we are not going to do that right now. We're going to wait for a while. Yeah, so that should be, definitely that should be that. We are not going to make it responsive yet. I'm just going to say, okay, let's publish this, add a condition. So where do you want this to be? I only want it to be on a singular page, and then that page should be, what did I call this? Design. So it should show up right now. So that's it, and then I save it. Okay, so right now I have applied this header to only one part of the website. I haven't applied it to the whole part, and I did that by clicking on publish, and then when you click on publish, it will show you the conditions. And the condition that I input was include. It says I can change this to exclude if I want to exclude a specific page, but I said you should only place it on a singular page, and that singular page is called design landing page. So that should be that. The next thing that I'm going to do is close this because we are done. Then I'll come back to our canvas where we're going to do the real design. Refresh it, and then you're going to see what happens. You see that the header that I have created still hasn't appeared over here. The reason is because I have activated what is called Elementor Canvas. For Elementor Canvas, it removes everything from the page. It makes the page blank so that you wouldn't have any form of distraction. This is good, especially when you're creating something like a checkout page where you want someone to finish checking out without having any form of distraction, thinking about, whether I should go back to the home page or the cart. So using this is beneficial. But here we want the header to show. So I'm going to go back and say, let's use Elementor full width. So when you use Elementor full width, now we see that the header that we created has now appeared on here. So that is that. And then I'm just going to update it to make sure that, and then I'm going to refresh it. So that is our header. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start creating the first section of the hero section of the website. So we click on add container. As you can see, we have 3 containers over here. Container number 1 for this, container number 2 for this, and then container number 3 for this. So I'm going to input 3 containers. I'm going to choose the one. Okay, so I don't know about all this fancy stuff that we've done over here, but I need a container to be able to work. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to pick this one, the predefined one over here. Probably don't do that. Probably let me show you how you can create that on your own. So I've added a container, but as you can see, the container has gone all the way to the top, and I can't really do much. Before I even continue, I think there was something that I missed. So I'm gonna update this, and then I'll go back into the theme builder. We need to fix something on the header. Now click back on the theme builder, click back on this header, and then click on edit. So what I didn't do was I didn't make this header sit on top of the site. When I mean that is, I want this one to be when we have layers. So I want this layer to be the top layer. For you to do that, you have to use a Z index. So I'm gonna go in here, click on the container, go to advanced, and then you see the Z index over here. I'm gonna say, let's give it a Z index of 99, and then I'm gonna save it. And then I can go back over here and click on Finder. This Finder is really an amazing feature. You can go and click on Finder and just type in what's the name of the page, and you can just click on the page, and Elementor will load the whole thing for you. So right now that I did, I can no more click on the container without coming back to click on this because this container is underneath the header. The header is on level 99, and the container is probably on level 0 or on level 1. So definitely the header is way up high. So for me to make sure that I'll be able to design this container, I need to click. So that's how do you make this come out like that? This navigation. For you to have the navigation, you can just right click anywhere where Elementor has Elementor signs are on. When you right click on an empty space, it wouldn't happen. You need to either right click here or right click on the container. If the container is not working, so probably right click on this drag, and then you can click on navigator, and then it will pop up. I think there's also another way to do that. If I remember that, I will show you, but this is how you can do it by just right clicking here and then clicking on navigator, and it will show up. So this navigator is draggable, you can move it around. And so you can click here to select the container, and then since we want the container to drag down so we'll be able to use it, we're going to click on the container, click on the advanced, and then we're going to come to padding. Okay, so the question is, why don't we use margin? When I use margin, you're going to see what happens. Let's say a margin of, remember the negative margin that we gave the header was negative 92. So if you want everything to be down below, we're going to just type 92. Okay, so when you do this, the issue is that this header wouldn't have the background of the hero section. So if let's say I click back on the container, go to the minimum height, drag it down, just give it a color. Say give it a color of this. So as you can see, the header now has no color behind it. There's no reason to do that. If you for us, we want the header to be able to affect. We want this container to be able to affect the header. So to do that, we don't have to use margin. By using margin, then the container is all the way down. So right now, as you can see, the container is underneath the header and giving the header the background that it needs. But yes, still, the container is way too up. What we're going to do is we're going to give it a pattern so that this container will come down a little bit without removing the color. So we're going to say give it a tab pattern of 92. So as you can see, the area where it is editable has now come below the header. That is what we're looking for. We're looking for an editable part of the container that is not hidden behind the header, even though we can still give the color of the full container without affecting it. So that is one thing that I wanted to show you, which is important. So now we've created our main container. So going back to the design, this is our main container. So these three containers are inside one main container. So first we have we have added our main container. Let's add our color now. So I'm going to remove the color that I applied over here. Just go click on the container, click on style, and then come over here. You can just click on clear. Need to remove your defined color and then add in a predefined color if you already added one, or to just clear any color that is over there. What we want to add the color that comes with the design. To do that, I'm going to go back to the Figma file, and then I'm going to show you. Figma is really Figma is a great tool because it gives you clean code for you to be able to use on your website. So look at this design that, as I said, I already downloaded. And when I click on the canvas of the design, so the canvas is selected, and then on the right hand side, probably yours, if you open it, to look like this. It will show you the kind of background that they've used over here, which is a linear gradient. But creating a linear gradient is sometimes a bit tricky when you are on Elementor, because on Elementor you can do the same thing. I'm say, let me open this. So it's giving you two colors, which is this color and then that color. Going back on Elementor, we can say, okay, we want to. This is the whole. When you go back to the design has one seamless gradient. We want to make that. So we don't have to apply the color background to this gradient. We are not going to do that. What we're going to do is that we're going to apply the color background to the body of the page. So we can go here and say, okay, to affect the body of the page rather than the container is already selected. But then we're going to go to the far corner left down and then click on this setting icon. So this page, there's a setting icon for this particular page. So we're going to click on that icon, go to style, and then over here we can apply a gradient. So you can click on classic, which will give you just one color. So as you can see, this color has affected, let me make it this green, has affected the entire page. So if I keep adding anything, this color will still be there, one seamless long color. We can also create a gradient. We can say, okay, this is one color, and then this is another color. Boom. It's not even showing. Okay. Sometimes this thing is doing a lot of unnecessary stuff. So this is the gradient. So the gradient has green and blue. So we can go back here and say, okay, go back to the Figma file. And then we can say, okay, there are two colors, this and then that. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to use Elementor's gradient. As you can see, it's already playing jokes with me. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to click and use custom code. So I'm going to go, after clicking on this toggle icon that says settings, to give you settings, I need to give you style, I need to give you advanced. So you click on advanced. Over here, I'm going to apply a background gradient color. So I'm going to type in selector and then open and close brackets, go to the Figma, and then whilst I'm just going to select, let me close this. So I selected that. So this canvas has been selected. I'm going to go to inspect. So here, Figma gives you a background CSS code that I can just grab, go to Elementor, and then just paste in there. Brilliant. So now we have applied a background color using CSS to affect the entire page, the entire body of the website. So that is what I have done. I'm just going to click on update. And after that, I'm just going to click on these toggle icons. So we have applied a background. We have our header, and then we also have this toggle icon. The next thing that we are going to do is to start doing the animate or start building the site. We need 3 containers. So first, I'm going to click on this container, and then I'm going to turn the container into a full width. So go to layout, click on full width, and then I'm going to say pixels, say 40. All right. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. The next thing to do is to add the 3 containers that we need. So container number 1. Then I'm just going to duplicate it, then duplicate it. Okay, so now we have our 3 containers. The next thing to do is to input the text. So here we need a text and a button. So these are the elements. You need a text element, and then you need a button element. Okay, so as you can see, the bigger container that we used is a row, but the sub containers that we are using is a column. Why do we need a column? Because as you can see, the text over here is flowing from top to the bottom. We can use a row and use wrap, but why would you want to worry yourself? So we have our 2 texts over here. The next thing to do is to style this text. Go in and then grab this text, click on this, and then you'll be able to, I'm just pasting things over here. I don't really want to type. Let's find the size of this text. The size is 58. So go back here, go to style. Make sure that you apply. I'm going to apply the Sora text. Go in and give it a 58. Go back and then see. So 58. The font weight is 600, and then the line height is 58. Okay, so line height, you choose pixels, choose 58. The weight is 600. So I think we have achieved that. The next thing is to put in this background there. So this can be achieved in so many ways. You can just click on this text, go to advanced, go to background, click on this, and then I already have the file here. So and then just choose that background. So as you can see, this background is repeating. We don't want it to repeat. So we're going to say, okay, no repeat. So now we have only 1. The next thing is that we want, as you can see, this is all the way to the left. So we can say, okay, let's click on that and choose custom. And then we're going to move this to the left. So as you can see, we moved it to the left, but then the background is now hidden. We can't see it. Probably we can say, let's add a bit of padding to this text. So that, okay, left padding of 50. But then, as you can see, your background is still sitting over there. So you might want to go back into here and say, default. But then you are really going to worry yourself with trying to figure out how this should be. I can click on the container that has the element, because as you can see, this very thing is in the middle. I can click on that and then go to items and say, so let's make sure there's directive and then put this one in the middle. Then we can come back in, click on this, go back into the background and say, give us a custom position. So this has to go up a little, and then this has to come back over here. So this, as you can see, is very much up. So move this up. Okay, the issue now we have is that this very thing is hidden at the top. So we might go back in and say, give me a tab of 50. And after that, as you can see, this thing has moved away. So then you have to come back and position it back again over here. So this is one way to add this very background design on it. But I'm not going to use that. I showed you a plugin called Oh Boy, and Oh Boy has a few tricks up its sleeve where you can add. So I just want to remove the background. So close it. Okay, so back to the same thing that we were doing. So now there's no background. So I'm going to show you by using Oh Boy. I wouldn't have to do all the margin stuff that I was doing. So I'm going to click on this Poop Act. It can be activated or activated, and then I'm going to click on the background. All right, so when I click on background, it gives me this image. I'm going to make this 1%, which is 100% opacity, and then click on open image, go to this and select that. It looks the same, but then there's something more to this. I'm going to say, okay, repeat, no. So as you can see, the background image is already up top. And then I'm going to click on position and size. So here is where the trick is. So this offset is going to offset the position. It's going to offset the position of the background without having to use all this thing that we're using. So it's offsetting it without any form of padding or anything like that, which is really an amazing plugin. And it is free. So, but as always, designers need to eat. So if you have something to give and you download this plugin, make sure you go to Oh Boy's page and then buy him some coffee. So that, without having to trouble myself with patterns and other stuff like that. So I have applied that. I'm gonna go back in. So let me see whether that is correct. Yeah, I think that is correct. The next thing is to also design the button. So this is the button. The text is black and then the color. Okay, so what does the text say? Let's start. So I'm going to go here and say, let's start. Yeah, we can leave that as empty. Go back into settings. And then we are going to give this a radius. When we go back into the Figma file, you're going to see Figma gives you even more details. Okay. Yeah, so it is 1.5 when it comes to the border, and then the border radius is 45. We can go back into design, put in border radius of 45. The width is 208 pixels, which is probably okay. So I'm going to go back in. I'm not going to use those numbers because I think those numbers are inflated. So I'm going to say top is a 10, bottom is a 10, right is probably 35, left is probably 35. Okay, so probably make this 15. So this probably might need to go up high. Yep. So we're going to remove this color, make it transparent. So you want to make the color transparent. You click on the color and then just drag. So you drag it to the left for transparency. Now we need to add color to the border. So we're going to click on border type, a solid border. I don't think we can do 1.5. So there's no fractional numbers over here. So we're going to choose 1. Color. So we're going to go back into the Figma file and then copy the color. Okay, color. So yeah, that is the color, and the Figma, the text there is black. So go back. As you can see, text color is over here. Click here and then choose the black that comes with it. So that is the first container. The second container is this image. So let's go in and find an image element. So type an image. Put the image over here. Click on that, and then this is the image that I'm using. Make sure that this image is in full width, and then we're going to go on style. As you can see, this container is taking a lot of space. I'm going to make it full width so that I can adjust how big it is. So what I'm going to do is probably close it down a little. Yeah, so close that down. The next thing to do is make sure that there is no. So I'm going to click on the main container that has the sub containers and then remove this 20 pixel spaces that it has. So if I remove it, you can see that there are spaces in between here. So I want to remove it. So put this into 0. All right, and then go back and then click on the first container and close it a bit more. Okay, probably that. Also, yeah, so that should be good. So this, I'm going to click on here, and then I'm going to go back into the Figma file, and then I'm going to show you the length of the image. So the length of the image is 363 by 474. So I click on this image, and then you're going to come over here and then click on style. So the style says that it is 363 to 363, and I'm going to height. Say height is 474. 474. All right, so now you can see that our image is elongated a bit more than usual, but then it is spot. We want to fix that. To fix that, we're going to click on, see object fit. You click here and then you click on cover. So now our image is covering the whole length. It's not covering the whole, but it's covering the length, the height that I gave it. The next thing to do is to have that round border thin, and then the round border thin is 176. So go back into our file, click on this image, look for border radius, and then type in that 176. So you can create, probably someone will say you can create pixel perfect designs. You can create pixel perfect designs if you're using a tool that gives you the opportunity to do that. And a tool like Figma or XD, and when I say XD, Adobe XD, gives you like the real numbers. So as you can see, I'm just copying the properties that were already used in this design, and I'm using those properties to apply to this new design, and it is giving me the same thing without me having to worry, which is pretty amazing. So that is that for this. The next thing to do is to have this this little how am I going to call that, a tag. So this little tag over there. To do that, I'm going to use you remember this this background that I did. So I'm going to use that same technique. I'm going to click on this image, go to advanced, go to poop art. It's already activated. Click on this background, make sure this is 1. Click on the image, find the poop art, say insert. So as you can see, the poop art is behind, but on the Figma design, you can see the poop art is on top of it. So what I'm going to do is to go down here. You see Z index again. You remember Z index is more about layers. So this image is on layer 1, and our tag is on layer -1, which is below layer 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this up and then click on 1. So now our pop art is right here on top of our image, but then it's repeating, which we don't want. So we're going to go up and then look for repeat and say do not repeat. We want this to come all the way to the right hand side. So we're going to click on position, say center right. Oh, that's on the right, top right. So boom. That should be it. So we just did that. I'm going to change the color of this image itself to black and white. To do that, click on the image, go to style, look for CSS filter, and then you can just drag saturation all the way down. So that is for that image. The next thing that I'm going to do is to have this scroll. So this scroll was, you can do it in so many ways. I could just go into Figma and export this very so this very thing I can export it. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go to click on that. It's a group, so go to design and then go to export. Say I want this to be an SVG. Probably SVG will work. Yeah, so I want that to be an SVG, and okay, let's export that. Sometimes when you export an SVG that has a text, the text coming in, they don't work. So that is the only issue here, but I'm gonna just do it. Upload, and then these are the assets, and just see it over here. I'm gonna go back into the design and say, okay, I'm gonna put an image. So say image, so image below this, and then so look for the image, and then I'm gonna navigate to my Finder, go to creative, find assets, look for text, button, image. Okay, it's not on this part. Image. Okay, so there's it. Let's name it and say black tag. So I'm gonna put that over there. Okay, so as you can see, it's right here. I'm gonna make sure that this is full width. Go back into advanced settings. Flex start. I want to make sure this is in the middle itself, like that. The next thing to do is to apply back to the Figma file. You can see that there is this little black thing over here. I can do that by clicking on this image, go to poop art, and say put an image underneath it. Make sure this is full %. I already uploaded that image, which is this, and then insert. As you can see, you can't see it. The next thing to do is to move it below it. So by clicking on this position and size, I'm going to offset the tab to the bottom. Right there. Okay, that should work. This doesn't even look right. The Figma file. So that's how it looks. So it has to come down a bit more. So I'll set the top all the way down. Okay, that's good. The next thing today is we have to move this, move it all the way up. So I'm going to click on the image and then go to layout, and then unlink the margin, and then we're going to move it up by using margin tab. Then I'm going to move it to the left hand side too. All right. So you see now it is creating this repeat. So I'm just going to click on the image again, go back to poop art, make sure this is on no repeat. All right, that is nice. So that is on no repeat. The next thing to do is to create this last section, which has this and then the text. So go back in, find a divider. So to create this, I'm going to use a divider to do that. So I'll look for a divider, put it over here, The next then is the text. So this text comes in. Okay, but what we are going to do is going to be a bit different. So, but let me put in the text so that you can see that. Okay, make sure this underneath that. So that is the text. The next thing to do is have this image. So go into image. So that's an image, and then last but not the least, this button. So I'll look for a button and put this button down here. All right, so we have the assets for this container, the divider. But as you can see, we have this line, this divider, and this text on the same line. So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this container from column to a row. So I'm going to click on this like this, go to items, and then pick a row. So now everything is stacked against each other. So the next thing to do is to make sure that this divider. So as soon as we turn the container into a row, the divider just disappears. And that is something that you should know about, that the divider disappears when you turn this into a container. You turn a container into a row. For you to make sure that it comes back, you have to click on the divider on the navigator and then go to advanced. And then on the width, you want to choose custom. Then you want to drag it out. You see, it's 100%. But the reason we place this to 100% so it should cover the whole width of the container, but it is not doing that. Why is it not doing that? Because we haven't finished setting up the container itself. The container is a box, so it wouldn't work first and foremost. So you have to make it into full width. The next thing that we want to do is to make sure that the container also has a wrap. As soon as we put on the wrap, now this has covered the entire width of the container. Every text is now covering the entire width of the container. So we can go in, we can even make this default. It's still not going to show. So go back into the custom. You can make it into full width to show, but the reason why I want to make it into custom because this whole thing is not full width. It's just probably 20% or something like that. So there's the tag. We're gonna make it like 15%. All right, so 15%. The next thing is this text. So we have to go in and then copy the text, come in here and paste it over here, and make sure that the size of the text, I'm going to use this to find the size of the text is 24. So go in, go to type, make sure that the typography is Sora, and then the size is 24. The next thing to do is go to custom and then start making this even length. Alright, so it needs to come all the way here. So it needs 86. So we have to come here and then make this a bit smaller. But as you can see there, there's space over here that we might not need. But this whole design looks a bit small. I'm going to go back into the Figma and see. Okay, so as you can see, the length of the hero section is 1194. So I'm going to come back here, click on the main container, change the width to 1194. All right. So, and then I'm going to make sure that this other container is not that, it's not that big. Make it smaller like that. That should be fine. Yeah, that should be good. Probably I might want to fix this later on, but this should be all right for this text. Go back here and then make this a bit longer. Click on that. Okay, let me see. This is what, 11. Let's make this 10. Click on this and then start reducing it. So you can see you can even reduce it more. All right. The next thing to do is to give this a bit. I think that is it. You don't really have to stress yourself on that. Okay, so we need to put our image over here. Click on this is the image that I'm using. I'm going to come in, then click on this image, dump it over here. The next thing to do is to make sure that this image covers the entire width. So let's say 100% of it. Great. We need to also fix this we need to create a button over here. So this is what I'm using. I'm going to show you how I made the button with all those little things inside. Going back to the Figma file, you can see this is what they did. There's no hover animation, but I'm going to show you how to do that. So button is over here. Let's say contact with us. What is it? When I said that your wording is wrong, that is one of them. I'll say contract with us. Probably that's not the best word, but I'm gonna use that. And then as you can see, this is broken down. To do that, you can use HTML, breakpoint HTML, and then you can go in and give the Sora. Let me see how big the font is. 30 pixels with 40. So you go in here and say 30 pixels with 40 pixel line height. Okay, so that should be good. Then I'm going to start adding the color. So the color, I'm going to say, take this away, and then I'm going to go down here. So this also is from Oh Boy. And I'll be able to use an image for the background. So I'll go back over here and then click on enable butter button. Yeah, he has some really weird names, but that is cool. So butter button, and probably the next thing to do, let me go back to the Figma file. Let me see. Okay, I'm just going to select. Okay, so go back to inspect. The radius is 12. So I'm going to give it a radius of 12. Right. The next thing to do is to give background color over here. So click on color and then give it that color. And then we need an image too. The image is, where did I put that? Where did I put those? I think it's this. All right. So that is that. We're going to make sure that this image is center. And then we're going to make sure this is going to repeat. Then we have to deal with the pattern of the button. So I'm going to make this 0, and then I'm going to go in and go back into inspect. It's a 241. Okay, this is the only thing that doesn't really give you. Okay, so it says 18, 19, and then 59, 59. Okay, so just gonna 59, 59. Okay, not that. 18, 59, 19, 59. All right, so this is what they have on there. When I hover, the text is white. So when I hover, I want the text to still be white. And then I want the background to be the same. Then I'm just going to put back those little dots. All right. So, okay, this is working fine. There's a little animation here, which you can remove all the way together. Then you don't have the problem of looking like it's flashing. Okay, so we are almost there with that. So this should be up top. So what I'm going to do is say, I'm going to click on this, go to settings. So I'm going to click on this silver line, even silver line to the middle. I'm going to put it top. And then I'm going to make sure that, as you can see, everything is up top on this in the container. So I'm going to say, click on container. I'll put everything in the middle. Click on this container. Put everything in the middle, center, and then click on this container. That I'm going to click justify to center, and you're going to see, so this is center. But as you can see, there is a lot of space in between here. The reason why we are not using the justify content, we're not using that is because this is in a row. And when you justify it to the center, I'm going to place things in the center like this. which is not bad, but that's not what you're looking for. I'm just going to leave it like that. And then we already align the element to the center. What you're going to do is you see this align content. So remember, align element and align content are different. So I'm going to click on this and say we want things to be in the center. And then it pushes everything down and brings everything close together in the middle of the container. Oh, I forgot to put this text over here. So the next one is this text. Duplicate that and then put in this text. Let me make sure I know what the size is. Size is 16 and then the height is 24. So 16 and then height is 24. All right. So that should be that. So this is all the way to the other side. So I'm going to come here and then click back on the button. So we're going to move the button up by using margin. We can use absolute positioning, but we're not going to do that. You're going to use margin. So let's push this up. Okay, so let's see how this looks. So you can see this image is all the way to the left. So I'm going to click on the image itself and say, go to content and then align it to the left. So that's what that is doing. Then probably just click on this button, keep moving it up a little more, and that should be it. And then the next thing to do is to move this then a bit to the left. To do that, we're going to click on this. I'm going to click on that, and then say margin left. You're going to see what happens. Gone. Absolutely gone. So I'm going to have to make this. All right. So you give it the margin, and then you have to make the entire container a bit longer. Those are some of the techniques that, as I was saying, you need to look out for when you are making a design. The next thing I'm going to do is just give this a little pattern of like a 20. So pattern left 20. As you can see, this is breaking up on itself. So we have to go back in here and then reduce this to probably 25. And then just reduce this a bit more. Ooh. All right. So I don't know if I can just break it. Okay, that's good. So that should work. So we have space over here and we have space over there. So probably this can even get a bit more notched to the side. Okay, that looks good for the first part of the design. The next thing to do is try and fix this. So go poop art, click on the positioning, and then the left, probably make this. I think that works. Okay, so let's look at how it looks. All right, we're getting there. So we've created the first section of the design, which is good. The next ones will be breezing through them a bit more faster to make sure that we are not taking all the time doing this. All right, so next section is these numbers. So these numbers are counters. So how I'm going to do that, I'm going to create a container. I'm going to create a container for it. So a row container, and then I'm going to say text. Just normal text. Okay, so this normal text has these numbers. Okay, so I'm going to break this over here. Go in here and say, when I click on enter, it will break to create a line break over there, or you can just type it in by yourself. But then you can't make this number bigger by itself without affecting this unless you're using two texts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a span, which is going to take a bit of time. So I'm going to go back into this code and copy the code, and I'm going to show you how the code works. Okay, so go back here, go to settings, and then say, look for the code. Copy. Okay, so come here and then so this very this very text over here. I'm gonna go click on the text, go to advanced, and then go to custom CSS, and then paste it over there. But nothing is happening. The next thing to do is to copy the code for the text. You see this span class, and then so this is what is causing the whole thing to function. So I gave this number, I gave it a class of non-count. So I wrapped it on a span and then gave it a class of non-count. Went to the advanced, and then right here, I targeted the class, and then I gave it a font and then size and all that nice stuff. So I'm gonna go back into Sora, into the style, and then apply Sora on it. Make sure that the text itself is, I think it's 18. All right, so that should be that for that, and then I'm just gonna go in and duplicate 1, 2, 3. So we have 4, and then I'm gonna just click on the container, go to items, and let's, yeah, that should be good. Go back, and then I'm just gonna copy. The text. This says 3. Okay. Let's say view page. So I can just copy the text faster. Okay, so 360 projects done. So next thing is to come in here and say 360. Then copy projects. Then the next word says 5,000 plus template sales. So 500 plus template sales. The last but not the least is 800 plus cups of coffee. So before I even go here, let me see this. So 800 plus cups of coffee. Right, so that is that. I'm just going to give this probably a 50 margin tab. That should be good, and then just save this. I'm gonna go back. I think the very first container is a bit too high. I'm just gonna close it a little. That should be good. So save that. The next thing to do is to create this. So I'm gonna use I'm gonna create a container, and then go in and then make sure that you have space at the top, and then make this container a bit longer. Let's say 2. Go back here and then find the height. Okay, height is 279, so 279, and then the width is 1660. So click on this and say this width is 16. I can give this a full length and then apply a container inside. Say the container is full length, but then I want the sub container to be 1660. So I'm applying 2 containers inside, and I'm going to move the container to, say, this should be, oh, that's a mistake. I need to target the main container. So I'll move this to the middle. So the sub container, the 1660 container is now in the middle. This container should be a row. So come in here. I first have this text and stuff like that. I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna select these 2 things, copy them because they look like the other text. So that is for that. So I just copy that text, copy this, come in here and then paste that. There's a length to this very text, so I'm gonna go back into it, make sure I'm gonna give it a certain width. Okay, so that's good. So this width should work. Font size and other stuff like that, I can inspect them. So there's a 30 pixel font. So I'll give this a 30 pixels, and then I'm going to want to find the line height too. Line height is 40 pixels. So come in and then give it a 40 pixel line height. Make sure that everything work in photos. Say, okay, so elevate this up top. So you want to, okay, good. So elevate that is there. This shouldn't be that, long. So I'm gonna close it a bit more. Okay, that should be good. The next thing is the pictures. So I need to find picture widget, apply it in here, look for the picture, just this. Is that correct, right? Yeah, that is good. So that's the picture widget. The next thing is another picture widget. So duplicate this picture widget and then just click on the new picture widget. Go in and find picture that I want to use, which is this. The next thing on the design is this text. So I'm gonna copy this text. Duplicate the last text that I have over here and then move it to the last part, and then just make sure I go in and I paste it over there. Then look how it ends in New York. So, but before that, let me look at the text size, which is 1828. So 18 for the size. So go in and say the size is 18, and then here is 28. Okay. And let's stretch this New York. I'm going to go to advanced to make sure that this cover the way that I want. So good. That should be all right. The next thing that we have is this. How you going to call that? The quote sign. So I'm going to use that by using icon. Put an icon over here. Go to the main icon library and then type in quote. So this quote sign comes out, and that should be good. So now we have added all the elements in this container. What I'm going to do is make sure everything is in the middle. So I can click on this and then try using that. So that's middle. Click on that. That's middle too. We can do that, or we can just go to the main container, go to items, and then position everything in the middle. So it doesn't change anything. So you can just click on this. As you can see, this image, when I come here, is down. So I can come in, select that, say push it down. The next thing is this text is where it is. This quote is down too, so I'm gonna give it down. And then, as you can see, it's a bit up top. Let me make sure that the inner container, this inner container is 276. Doesn't even look like it's taking anything that much. Everything is already fixed. And I'm gonna go back in and then give it a color, background color of black. Just make sure that all the text. So this text color is. I'm gonna go in here and then find the text color, which is okay. That probably I should save this color somewhere. So save it, and I'm just gonna save it and say G color, just to make sure that it's easier to find. So this one too, I need it to be a G color, but the issue is that this thing is up top. For me to do that, I'm just going to use margin. I'm going to close this gap, close this one, and then I'm going to use margin to move it a bit up. Okay, that's good. Go back here, fine. I'm going to give it this gray. Then this, I'm going to give it the color of the G. That's correct. All right, so I'm going to move this also up. But before that, let me go back to Figma and see there is a radius on this. Okay, it doesn't state it over here, so I'm going to give it a random radius of. Click on the container, the sub container, and then go to border, and then give it a radius of like 25. That should be right. Going to advanced and then give it a pattern. Give it a pattern. 20. Yeah. So everything is nicely padded. Gonna click on this and then go to advanced or link. Push it all the way up. It's not moving. Okay, No, it is. Take it to the left. Okay, that should be good. So I think we have created this section too. The next thing to do is to have this text. So I'm gonna just copy this. Then create a new container down. As you can see, this one is it's in the row. So the container, sorry, it's in the column. I'm gonna give it a top margin of 50. Go into the container, look for text. Or I can just go in here, copy this, make it more simple, and then come and paste it here because they're using the same idea. And then I need to make sure that this has some custom width. So I need to go back here. So we are privileged to work. So click on this text, change the text inside to that. And then we are privileged, make sure that things are in the middle. And say so privileged and then to work leading brand. Okay, work with. Correct, right? Okay, we are privileged to work. I just need to find the text size because, okay, 50 pixels for the text size. So click on that, go to pixel, and then give this 50. So privileged and then work, and then go back into the advanced and then start closing this down. Okay, so that is a little issue here. So I might have to go in and then break this text down without using it. So, but I'm gonna fix the whole privileged or privileged by itself. So to work and width. The next, let me see that line height. Line height is 60. So go in and then let me find line height. Line height should be 60. Privileged by itself. So it is width and length. That is two other things that I need. Should have been lined up. Okay, so instead of giving this that, let me just go in here, break this down, go here, and then, right. So just do that and then make sure that this thing is probably 50 and then put it in the middle. The next thing is to move this behind to go to poop art. Where we are placing it is behind the privilege. So we're going to offset the tab down and then move it to your right. Okay, let me just use up. How does this look? Yeah, it looks like this is a bit bigger. To make it bigger, we can go to size. 100% is just too huge. Okay, and then go back to this and then offset it to the top. And then move it to your left. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that as this. The next thing is these logos. So we're gonna find image. You need this. Go in here and then find the logos. Sorry. So that is the logos. The next thing I'm gonna do is have these 3 images. And then this art, this tag. So I'm gonna have 3 images. So look for image. Image number 1, number 2, and then number 3. I'm going to go in here, make this full width. And then image number 1 on the left is this. This one is an image on the right. Okay. So that is the image on the right. The middle, and then this the one on the right, which is this. Alright, so these 3 images. Now I need to make sure that these 3 images are more like in the row. So click on that, go to the first image, go to advanced, and make it custom, and then you can give it probably 25. Next image, make sure this is full so that it is fully this high resolution. Give it a 50. Before I even continue doing this, go click on this and then make sure that whoa. Okay. I understand what's happening. So I need another container in here so that I'll be able to maximize. Okay, make sure this is in full width. And then the container inside, what is this? Also should be full width. And let's say 1660. And then I'm gonna add no percentage, sorry. Then go back to the main container. Go in element, say middle, everything in the middle, and then just pick this. Okay, put stuff inside. And then, so the sub container now should be in a column. Then go into this. Make sure that this isn't, but I'm going to make this 100% full. So go back here and say 100% full. Make sure that the container also has wrap on. Get this very, click on the container itself, make sure that everything is in the middle. So this moves also into the middle. Next thing is to add the image here. That's image number 1, image number 2, image number 3. Okay, so good. 3. All right. So click here, put this middle. Make sure that this is also full. Go to advanced, go to custom, and then you can make it to 25. I see, because of those little spaces, 25 wouldn't work. So, but this should be good. The reason why 25, even though 25 plus 25 should give you 100, 25 plus 25 plus the 50 will give you 100, but there are spaces that Elementor already adds, which add up to like 60 pixels. That is causing a bit of issue over there. So that is that. So that should be for the 2. The next thing that I'm going to I need to do, okay, so these are the images. I need to add this at this very tag over here. So click on this image and then go to, let's say, poop art. Click on that, make sure this is 1. For this tag, add it, make sure that the Z index is 1, remove the repeat, and then you can say position should be bottom right, not top right, bottom right. Yeah, and then it should be good. The next thing to do is to have a text. Right. As you can see, the text is jumped. Issue. Okay. Right, that's good. So text over here. Let's copy this text. Come back over here and then add the text. Make sure that we have the right sizes. And just inspect the text, which is 30 pixel and 37.8. So go in, apply that. Say, give us 30 pixel for the size. 37.8 for the line height, and then go back here. So pixel to fade. Okay, that should be good. Go back and give this pixel of center. Okay, so probably good. So that should be that for this container also. Our next container should be this. So image. So you have the image and then you have this. Right. So new container. I'll make sure that I give it a margin of 50 to the top. Next then is to make sure. Okay, so this is in a row. So I'm going to go in here and say, turn this into a row. So we have this text and then we have another text down here. So just to make sure that things are moving fast, I'm going to go up here and copy this text, come in here and paste it. So look for this very text. We build experience. So probably most of the build experiences. Go in and then make this. Good. And make sure that I go back into that. Okay, so things should be on the left hand side. Click on the advanced settings and then go to Poop Art. And make sure that this is default. Nice and clean. Probably you might want to make it a bit bigger. Go to position. I want it to go to the left. Then you want to offset this down here. Alright. That should work. The next thing is the text. So I'm going to copy this text and then paste it down below. I will need one container inside here to make things happen much better. So I'll put this text in here and put another text in here too. Just make sure that this container should be 100%, and then that should be like 45. Make sure that this let's come with that. Alright, all the way to the left. The pixel also here, so the text here reads this. So I'm gonna copy that. Actually just default. Now I'm gonna give this text a top padding of probably 20. Good. A top margin, so 20, and then I can just go back into the content and align it to the left. Make sure that I have the correct font sizes. So 1828. So 18 for the font size. So go back in. So 18 for the font size. And then 28 for the line height. And that should be good. So I'm just going to go back and then copy this button and paste it there. So this side of that is accomplished. The next thing to do, copy this, paste it, then just reset style. I need to make sure I have the correct size of that image, so go back, go down here. Okay, 698 by 454, 698, 454. So go to style 698 and then 454. All right, and then I can just go in and say cover. Make sure everything is nice and clean. I'm going to use the CSS property to make it remove the saturation, and then go over here. As you can see, it tells me that the radius is 50. So go back in and then give it a radius of 50. And that should be that. And put everything in this in the middle, center, and then update. Okay, so let's see how we're looking. Let's see how we're looking. All right, so we are very, very close to finishing. Probably I might want to add a bit more space to give some of the design a breathing space, but looking at the Figma file, that's what we have, and we are creating this pixel perfect. So as I said, when it comes to Elementor as a theme builder, and even creating just pages for your own pages, it is pretty damn a great tool. So you can use it to create whatever that you want. And as you see, with me designing this, it should give you the what word to use? Probably it should give you the edge to also be able to create a design that you also want. It doesn't matter what you see. There are some that you might need a little custom code, but apart from that, most of the things that you want to do are really straightforward if you understand how the tool is. So let's continue and try and then finish. So I'm going to close this. Then go back to over here. Next thing is this text. So what I'm going to do, I'm just gonna copy the text, just like the same. Go in here, create. Let me see. Okay, so I'm gonna create a column. Copy that, paste, and then go in here and paste that. See how this works. Our client feedback is important to us. Go in here, our client feedback is important for us. And then make sure that everything is nice and clean by finding the, okay, it's 50 and 60 pixels. So I'll click on this text, go to style, 50 and 60 pixels. That's great. You can go and then move this into the middle and make sure that this text is also looking like that. The next thing is to put this book art, then tab. So we're gonna go in, say 100%, and then go to position. I'll set it to the top. Just use this. I'll set it to the top and then move it to a bit to the right so that things are set nice and clean. All right, that's good. The next thing is to click on the container and just give it a margin tab. Probably now I'm gonna do a 90. Yeah, for all the other ones too, just to give this a good spacing. So 90 for that and 90 for this. The next thing over here is work with us. Okay, so I'm gonna find it just normal text. I'll just duplicate this and then reset the style. Paste it over here, and then let me find the, okay, it's 18 and 18. Okay, so 18 for the text, and then 18. Oh, there's no line height, so but let me just say 18 for line height too. All right, so we can give this underline. Go back here, copy that, and then we can just give the underline. I want the underline to come a bit below, so I'm going to add a little CSS over here. So do selector, open, and then say, so underline, you see text underline position, click on that and say under. When did that, it moves the underline away from the text. It has a breathing space, because sometimes it just be right there and there's no breathing space for you to really, there's no breathing space for the line and the text. So, okay, so that is that. The next thing to do is this, and this is going to take a little time, but it should be fun. So I'm going to add a container, a big container, because yeah, I didn't make this whole container into a row, so I'm just going to add one container in here. And then I need, what do I need? I need a picture, a divider, and text. So go in here, put a picture, make sure that this. How many containers would you think I'm going to use for these? I'm going to say one container, even though it looks like you need more than one, but one container is going to be really, it's going to work. Make this into full width. Alright, so one container, and then, so that's an image. The next thing is, so what I'm going to use for the divider is going to shock you, but it's going to be the space widget. Okay, so that is that. The next thing I'm going to do is text. So text. Alright, so image first, space second, and then the text there. Okay, so let's work with the image first. So the image, I'm going to find the image property. I'm going to come in here and say, okay. Okay, so it's 180 by 180. So come in here, click on that, make sure this is full width, nice and clean. Go to pixel, so 108. And then say 108. Boom, and then make sure that everything is covered nice and clean. Then go in here and I'm just going to pick that. Then when you go back into here, it tells you what it doesn't. Okay, this doesn't tell you. Okay, so I'm just going to go back in here and say, okay, I need this to be 100%. So I'm going to give it a radius. So this should be like probably 50. And then so we just create a circle. Nice and clean. The next thing is this. So here is going to be a little bit of work. I'm going to show you how to create that divider using the spacer widget by adding this color background, making sure that this thing is nice and clean. But this is a 50. But we don't even need 50. We need like something really small. But I'm just going to leave this here and say full width. Oh, you see that? See how it is creating this? So come back here and say, okay, let's close this down. All right, and then we're going to use this pixel, because we can go in here and then find this is a 3 pixel, then 3. So we just created that by using the spacer widget. The next thing to do is that you can see that this thing is not like all the way, it's not fully length. So we can do that by using this same thing to create that 65. So we can come back. So this we're not going to touch, but what we can do is use that. So we self-align that to the middle. That was pretty easy to do. Make sure that we copy the color over here and add this color of the background. So background color of that. Okay, so we just added that. Go and click on this text. Copy that. Just go in here and paste it. Make sure that we know the font and size. Okay, 22 and 32. So sorry, 22, and then the line height is 32. Okay, so we need to break this there. We can just come in and just break this. Just self-align, go to advanced and self-align into the middle. Then we can just say that every text over here, left to right, probably do that. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll select anything, and then I'm going to make the container itself, this container, I'm going to make it smaller. And then I'm going to, let's see whether we can self-align it to, okay, that's self-aligning. Let's say center. It's not going to go. Let's go here and say self-align it to the middle. All right. So we will move the container to the very center. Our next thing to do is to, okay, this has a color. This very color over here. We can do that by using the span. Remember when I was trying to do this particular thing over here, I added a span, and then the span I added a color via CSS. It's the same idea. So we're just going to do that. I'm going to go in here and say this our team. I'm going to put a span on it. So span. Taking too long. And then close the span. And then afterwards, I want to, because when we go to into the Figma file, we can see it. You can see. So this paragraph, I'll say, it's over here. I'm gonna show you. But then, so this thing is in the span, and then we're gonna give the span a class, and say equals, and then text, and say team text. Copy. So we copy that text. What I'm going to do is go back into advanced CSS, and then let's say dot, and then the class name. Make sure you remove that. It's not part of it. And then you can say color. Then you can just go into Figma, find that color, paste it there. Voila, we just did it. All right, so that is that. The next thing to do is that we need the same thing to repeat itself. But before I'm going to do that, I'm going to show you one more thing. We need a space. in between or else it didn't work. So I'm going to add a space here. As you can see, full width space. Okay. All right, so as you can see, this space is over here. I'm gonna go back in here and give it full width. So it's gonna give a separation, and that separation should be probably 30 pixel. All right, I'll probably just 10 pixel. All right, so we have this space, we have this text, and then we have this whole thing, and then we have this spacer, which is blocking. So I'm just gonna go in and then duplicate this, that, and that. Let's say duplicate. Okay, I don't know why this is here. It should be here. All right, so that should be there. Okay, I have a divider too. So I'm gonna go in here and say, give me a divider. The divider should be underneath that. And then I'm gonna come in and say, divider should be 100. So you have a divider and then you have a text. So we can change the color of this divider to its real color by going into the Figma, clicking on the very divider and then copying the color. So copy the color for that divider, come in to style, look for that, put it over here, making sure that there's no gap. And because there is a 20 pixel gap, I can even delete this very thin the space over there and just leave the divider. Yeah, just leave the divider there, and I can just keep. Okay, I can go in and say, okay, next thing should be this, and duplicate. Delete that. So delete that. So that is how to create this complex. It looks complex, but it's kind of really easy if you understand how to lay out with Flexbox. So the next thing to do is to do this very design with that little animation going up there. So I'm going to create a new container. I'm not even going to create a new container. You see, this container is very similar to that. So I'm going to just go in here, copy, and then paste. All right, and I'm going to swap. Let me close the container because containers are becoming a lot. Okay, so this very container, you can go in and then put an image first and put that to this to the part. The next thing to do is make sure I have the right image height. Okay, so 649, 587, 649, and 649, 587. Right, we just did that. The next thing to do, text is called that. So I'm gonna take. Sorry, the next thing to do is come in here, click on this text. This over there. Okay, so project breaks down the other side. So come and go to advanced. Okay, so project is down below. Now we need to move the poop art. So go to poop art and then go to poop art and then go to position. Then we have to move it up. Okay, looks good. We can make this a bit bigger if we want, and then go back into the position and then move it up a little bit more. Yeah, I'm gonna have some space. I'm gonna click on this container, go into here, and then probably give it 60 for the normal space in between. So as I said, Elementor has this element space over here. So it separates the element within the container. So this container has separated the element with the 60 pixel The next thing to do is I'm going to copy this, paste it up. Okay, go all the way up. So it needs to go up here, and then I'm going to make sure that I have this. I'm worrying myself. This text, copy this text, and then paste this text over here. Delete that. Make sure that this text is left, and then change the text in here to skills. Right. All right. So I'm going to just delete that. Let me see. Okay, and then I'm also going to delete this. The next thing to do is I need this animation, this little animation, and then this text stuff. So I'm going to click on this. We have to change this into a row. So we have to make this into like a full width. Or we can even leave this and then just make the second item into, let's say, full width. I'll make sure that this container is alright, something funny. Okay, before we even do that, 45 should be good. Just make sure that this thing is wrapped around. I'll take that and okay, make sure that the item is moving left to right. Okay, this. Right, I'm gonna fix that later. But make sure that this is there. The next thing that we need to do is to have a text. Okay. Get this thing. I'm going to delete that. Just duplicate this text. And then just reset the style. So this text should have graphic design. So I'm going to go in and put in graphic design. And then the text on the side has 50%. So that is 2. Okay, so let's say the next thing to do is to have that animation. I'm going to use, is it a counter? Or progress? Yeah, that's a progress bar. So progress bar. Progress bar should be underneath here. Make sure this is 50. So I'm going to go and say this should be 50%. And this should also be custom of 50%. Okay, so we can do both 50 because of Elementors. All those other stuff that I was talking about. So go back in here and then find the size. This is 18. I think this is also 18. So go in here, go to style, click on the text, and then go to style. Make sure it's horror, and then it's 18. Just copy this and put this over here. Alright, so this and this. Make sure that this is to the right and this is to the left, and this very thin is 100% full width. So there's a faint line, so I'm going to delete my scale. The next thing is to hide the percentage and then remove this text. And then, okay, remember percentage is 50. You can go into the style and then the height. I think that is good. The next thing to do, I'm going to go back into Figma. Let me just, okay, so this is the color behind it. So the background color is that. So everything looks as it should. And then make sure that this color is the GG. Alright, so this should be this. I'm gonna just click on that so that things start moving and put everything center. Yeah, alright. So everything looks close to each other. Okay, I need to find out why this text is looking like that, but I'm gonna come back to it. Make sure that everything is lined everything's lined up over here. That's why. Click on that and make sure that it goes all the way to the edge. Okay, edge to edge. All right. So next thing to do is to just duplicate this. So when you go, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna duplicate that. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Just say duplicate. All right. So the next thing that we have is lead generation. So we'll go in and say lead generation. So that should be that. Lead generation is 40%. So I'm going to give it 40% and then click on the progress bar. Give it 40% too. The next thing, duplicate. The next thing that I have here is Photoshop 60%. So Photoshop is 60%. So that is for Photoshop. The next thing that I have on here, I need to go into the progress bar and then give it a 60%. So click on that same thing and just duplicate it again. The next thing I have is illustration. Just want to copy illustration. Sometimes I'll be butchering the words out. Let me not butcher the word on YouTube. Okay. Click on that and give this 80%. Alright, so this is how I created that. I didn't use the whole because it looked different. But then this is what they had on their own. So I thought, okay, it might be better to just go in and just make it look a bit custom. It should be underneath the progress bar, and this should be full width. All right, and then this okay, it's full width 50. Issue. Yeah, but that should be that. I'm just gonna duplicate this a few more. Put it on top of the progress bar. Below the progress bar. And just duplicate this to below the progress. Below this progress bar. Alright, so that should be that for that specific section. The next section that we need to do is this, and then I'm gonna show you how to do this animation, and we should wrap up with creating this this layout. Okay, so we need this. Okay, so we can use columns, give it a 90 pixel to the top, and put in our text. I'm just going to copy this. Go back here. Okay, so I need to reduce the size of this even before into anything else. Okay, let me make this full width, right? And then go into the text. Okay. Break this and then break that. And then go to the poop art. So on the poop art, we want to make this default. All right, that's good. So I'm just going to copy that, paste. The text should be browse our latest. Yeah, we can do browse our latest, and then I'm just going to duplicate that into full width, and just reset the style over here. Even made a mistake, but on our latest, go in and then latest template. I'm just gonna leave this over here like that, go to the poop art, and then move this. Move it to the right. Okay, that should be good. Touch it too much. And then we have this text over here. So copy text, click on that. Make sure that I have the correct font size and everything else. So 1828. So go to style. Make sure that this text is this. Give this 18, and then pixel should be 28. You can go back in and put this in the middle like that. Okay, so that is one part of it. The next thing that we're going to do is to add a container here. And then, okay, so as you can see, we having a bit of issue with this. I'm going to make this full width. Go back here and give this one 1660. Make sure that this align itself. Okay, I might have to align like line stuff and stuff like that. But okay, so I'm gonna leave this container as 100%. Then move this container up top, and then add these. So one text, another text. Then click on this gray container and then change it to a row. Yeah, so that should be good for that. And then we need a container that is going to house the main container should be flowing down. So we need another container in here. So another container. Make sure that this very container, the first container, is 100%. The pixel in here is 1660. Then make sure that you align it to the center. The next container should be outside of it. Okay, I'm just going to delete it because it's causing too much issues. The next container . Alright, so this main container has two containers inside. This next container is going to have sub containers that we're going to use to do this animation. So I'm going to make this container come in and make it a full width, and then say give it a pixel of 1160, and then make sure that container that flows. Okay, continue like this. Make sure everything is in the middle. Okay, so this container now comes into the middle. Now we need to add these objects. So 3 containers. Container number 1. Duplicate. So 3 separate containers, and over here I'm gonna make sure that there is no space in there. I'm going to add an image. So that is an image. Then I'm going to add a container that is going to hold the other text. So there's another container that's going to hold the other text inside. So I'm just going to pick the image and say this image. Make it full width. Go in here. Let me go back into Figma and then find. Okay, 444 by 2 by 320. So say 444, and then the height 320. Make sure everything is filled in nice. Let's see what that okay, radius is 50, so I'm going to go into radius pixels. Should be 50. Alright, so that is that. The next thing to do is to create this 444 by 556. So you can take the main container and then make sure that you have what was it again? 556. So 556. Right. So container underneath it, I'm going to make it also really long. 556. And the next thing I'm going to do is push this container up top. Let's say 200. And let's make it negative. Let it go all the way. Alright, so that should be good. And the next thing to do is we can even give it a pattern of this. So when you give it a pattern, then it causes okay, good. So what we are doing that I'm going to make sure that this image is on top of the container by clicking the image, going to advanced and giving it probably a 5z index. So next thing is to click on the sub container. On the sub container, and then give it a background color of white. Alright, just make sure that we are not given. Okay, so this is the index. Should have 5. Alright, good. Let's go back into. Okay, so everything looks good. So now we can add our text. So text number 1, duplicate, and then duplicate. How many text we have over here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need that last one, which is 4. Come in here and then just keep adding. Cut. Next one is this. Paste. And can cut it and just paste this also over here. We can cut that open out and put this over here. And those are the 4 texts, and then I'm going to go back into the container and then give it here 20, left 20. Fix the text size. Click on that. Okay, so this is 24. You can go in and say Sora. Give it a 24. It's probably also Sora. And give it a 16 is good. And then just change the color to that. Next one is this. Give it probably also Sora. Let's see. Let's click on that. So it's 14 and then 26 line height. So even small, 14 and 26 line height. And probably I want to break it down on the camera in 4K. So go to camera and then 4K. Make it simple like that. This should be even smaller. So you can go in here and change this on Sora and make this into like a 12. And then you can go back and then push it all the way to the side. Okay, let's click back on the container that has it. Give the bottom probably a 30. Then I need to give it a radius. So to give it, I'm gonna go to style, give it a radius, and then say, okay, the radius to the right. Is that the right? The bottom. Set 50. Right. And then the left. Set 50. I'm going into Figma to see. Okay, radius is 53. 53 radius. And 53 radius. That should be nice. And as you can see, the S space at the top, the background color is not that white. So I'll click on the container, go to background, find the color, and then paste this new color. New color on there. Okay, so that should work. The next thing is to make sure that we have more space on the left. So to do that, I'm going to come, and then as you can see, 76 on the left, 125 on the right. So 76 left, 125 on the right. So just to make sure that we make this container a bit bigger, go here and say that 444. So we can come here, do full width, and give it 444. The issue is that the main container that has this container is not big enough. So we have to make it big. Something is looking fishy here. Okay, so this should be full width, so you can cover the whole thing. Okay, just to make sure that full width. Right, just go in here and also give this one full width. Alright, so then we need to give it more, so we can click on this main container. Then we can go into that main container, look for this. Then we can give it more padding to the top. So we can say top padding should probably be 300. Probably 320. Give it more space at the top. And we can give, yeah, that should work. Yep, so this can be here. That should work, and this should be good. Let's open. So the next thing that we can do, we can just keep duplicating this one, and duplicate it again, and then just delete these ones. All right, so that should be go into this container. Just give it a pattern to the bottom. I'll probably margin of 50. Okay, good. So it's not that too close. So that should be the entire landing page design. I'm going to post another just a little, probably a 5-minute tutorial showing you how to do this animation, because I think we are already 2 hours into this design and it's looking like we have done a lot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this over here. We've done a lot. If you're trying to also get yourself into learning it, if you guys want me to post the actual files on my website, I'm gonna do that. You can comment down below. I'm gonna do that. Then you can also download it and look at it to work yourself around it to see how, before these containers drop, how well you are prepared when it finally goes live. Let me just update this. I was just making a little housekeeping with making sure that things look clean. Let's see. this local file is really slow. I don't know, for some reason recently this thing turned slow. All right, so this is the design. There's a nice animation over here. Things look clean. It looks really clean. I'm even thinking about using this for my website itself, but yeah, that'll be for another day. But this is really clean. Probably add a footer later on. But you have your. I'm gonna go back into the Figma file so you can see the file itself. So this is what we're looking at from the beginning. We have the design the same, if not 100%, then we designed probably 80%. I don't know what they're trying to do with this, but we've designed almost 80%, almost 90% of what they have here. Here they have a scroll, but I don't know what other text I'm gonna put there, so I didn't apply the scroll, but yeah. So we have this, we have that, we have this skill. I don't have a blog, so I'm not gonna add a blog. Yeah, but as you can see, that is the design, and that is how you'll be able to build, as they call it, a pixel perfect design from Figma by using a Flexbox with Elementor. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. I know it was a long tutorial, but I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, you can leave them down below. Yeah, and then if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. By subscribing and liking this video, YouTube will be able to also show other people this amazing design that we did over here, and we should be able to grow the channel, and I'll be able to do more videos. Thank you for watching. See you next time. This is Nyako. Bye.